Hey everyone, today I want to talk about a few individuals. They are Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett. Now, three of these individuals are billionaires: Oprah, Bill, and Warren. And all four are exceptionally wealthy and have had great impact and influence on the world, whether it's through advancing technology or creating great businesses and helping great businesses, or influencing the world and creating positivity through talk shows. Now, all four of these individuals are people who have had tremendous luck in the timing with which they are born. You can take all the stuff with success, perseverance, and all this other stuff is very important and put it aside. And at the end of the day, you have to acknowledge the fact that if these individuals were born 50 or 100 or 1,000 or 10,000 years earlier, they would have been born into an environment that would have not created what they had now in terms of the influence, the impact, their success, their wealth, or anything else of comparable measurability. Now, this is not to disparage them because, as I'll get to, this is not some sort of crutch or excuse to just throw up your hands and say, I can't achieve success because I was not lucky. But it is very important to be happy and thankful and grateful for the timing with which you were born and certain aspects that are completely out of your control. With all four of these individuals, if they were born 50 or 100 years earlier, they would probably be unknown figures, which scares me because how many people who have died or were just your local barber or that person who you ordered fast food from or that person who you ordered your soup from could have potentially been exceptionally incredible people in the right environment. But unfortunately, that is how life works. It's oftentimes a battle with your environment. It's natural selection. That's how genetic variation works. A mother often shoots out offspring with incredible variation so that they're all exceptionally different, so that when they come and mature and come into this very dangerous, constantly changing environment and world, one of them will succeed because of their differences. Because the alternative is to have all your offspring the same, and then if some specific thing from the environment wipes them all out, they're all wiped out because they're all the same. For instance, fish that's black and similar to its black environment versus a white fish that sticks out and the predator sees it and eats it because it's so apparent that it's there. So with these four individuals, I think it's very interesting because if you took Oprah Winfrey, such a great woman who's made incredible impact, and you brought her back just 10, 50 years, 100 years, she would have been an indentured slave, or she would have been segregated, and because the current environment did not produce and encourage successful women, she would have had some meager job, maybe as a housemaid or something, been segregated, maybe discriminated against, and then lived her life. She probably would have been decently happy, but she would not have had the impact she has. And these things very much concern me because, as Warren Buffett says, we've been limiting the potential of half our population for so long. And even nowadays, we're really just finally uncapping things. And there's this great book by yes, she's also a billionaire, I'm sorry, by a billionaire who worked with Mark Zuckerberg, and her book's called Lean In. And she also did another one that I read called Lean In for Grads, which is mainly for younger generation females, and she brings to the forefront that when she was growing up, which was fairly recent in the last couple decades, it was either last decade or the decade before that, she thought that this whole feminist and equality thing was already solved. And she grew up in the United States, and she realized that there's still so many barriers and discrimination and glass ceilings and all this stuff. So it really makes me wonder, like, what potential is out there, and if the United States is still not that, it hasn't completely opened itself up, what about all the other countries out there who are even worse off in terms of gender discrimination and not allowing people to reach that potential? I think China's working on it. It's definitely not there yet, though, compared to the United States. And even the United States has to work on it. So it very much makes you think. And achieving full equality has definitely opened up tremendous potential for a lot of groups of people out there. On the flip side, though, it also puts up a lot more competition and so forth. And again, it can make things tougher. But still, I think the world has proven that great things can occur with technology and influence that could not have occurred before that. With equality and technology and everything that's occurred, we now have these great individuals, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. Bill, he grew up in a school that, he grew up in a high school that had one of the first computers available for him. And so, with Warren Buffett, he said if he was born 50 or 100 or 500 years ago, he would have been some animal's lunch. And no doubt, he would not have been a billionaire or anything incredible if he was born 100 years ago or anything like that. He excelled in the exact situation that was placed before him because, as he says, he was wired from birth to be a capital asset allocation machine. He read every book in the Omaha Public Library on investing by the time he was like 11 years old. And he asked for very bizarre books for Christmas. And on top of that, he grew up in the ideal time for what he did, the boom of the American economy. And if he was born in the caveman times or anything else, it wouldn't have worked. If Bill Gates was born 50 years ago before that, or 100 or 200 years ago, he probably would have just been some blacksmith. And I do think ultimately what this all points to is greater equality, and the second thing would be greater opportunity and access to all resources. Now, it's unfortunate that you can have both of these things, and there's still all these people that fall through the cracks. They still don't succeed. And I think that's an area where I can help out because from my experiences, I've seen that people who have not done well in school, they give up. But statistics show that there's many people who have broken through all these limiting beliefs that people place on themselves because they don't think they're worthy. They're grown up but told by their parents and society that they're not worthy. Even if they have all these resources, they don't understand how to use them properly, or they don't know what potential they hold, or more so, they believe that they can't do anything. And statistics show that there's 40% of billionaires did not graduate from college, and there's so many millionaires who did poorly in school and got poor grades and so forth. And having said that, though, I'm not gonna lie, IQ helps in accumulating wealth and so forth, And oftentimes certain things are dictated by genetics. But I've seen personally the tremendous amount of change um, and potential out there for so many individuals that if they would just start believing in themselves and accepting themselves and realizing, hey, I have enough IQ, resources, everything. I just need to go out and get it and accumulate wealth or experience or skill. And that's the first thing that I don't think people understand, and that needs to be further developed. In addition to further access to resources like computers to every individual um, throughout the education process. Not just computers, books, knowledge, resources, and so forth. Um, so those are the three big things I think. Greater equality, greater access to a plethora of the right resources, whether it's a computer or specific knowledge. And the last one would probably be um, eliminating those limiting beliefs and making people understand that you can do it, like you really can. And that's the last one's very tough. The second one, it also has dark sides in that you do have crowd of people who just don't really care. They will use the internet for things that don't advance them, or computers for things that don't advance them, like pornography or just random stuff to entertain themselves. But what I found is that it's definitely opening the doors for so many things. There's been so many people who have created tremendous impacts on the internet from doing things that seem like just trivial hobbies that will never do anything but entertain yourself. Examples are the hundreds of people on YouTube and Vine who have millions of followers, who are creating entertainment through something that entertains them, whether it's video games and so forth, and thus generating a new market, which is pretty much digital marketing, where businesses now choose to pay customers, pay these online entities, whether it's an online personality or an online brand, to air commercials or some sort of product placement in their online show rather than TV commercials through the TV, because all these eyeballs are now going online. And what I found, it may or may not be true, is that TV also will stick around. It's just a lot of the time devoted to things that maybe in the past were devoted to other stuff, maybe not TV, but playing on a yo-yo or stuff like that, is now going online instead. And so it's very interesting. And for the last one, for any of you viewers out there, I don't know, I don't have a lot of views, but other people who watch, I hope you guys can be impacted for the last one. Whatever belief you have that you're not smart enough, that you're too stupid, or that you don't have good grades, or you don't have the right circumstances or access to resources. There are, first off, a lot of histories out there of people who have broken all these beliefs. The biggest one probably to you is maybe lack of resources, or I don't think I'm smart enough. And they're literally biographies of people who have achieved so much because, first off, they did everything they could, and in certain environments and economies nowadays, it's just amazing because of the potential out there, and pathways. If you just dig through and find them to getting what you want. And oftentimes you'll find that the real barrier is just yourself, in that you think that you can't obtain these resources. Oh, I don't have access to this book because I can't afford it, or I can't afford this or that, or schooling and so forth. There's stories of people who have gone on to become doctors who grew up in the most impoverished, horrible neighborhoods with all sorts of violence and chaos and so forth. And not just doctors, but musicians, and all these stories. And it's all coming about. And it's not perfect. Everything can get better, but I think the first step is believing that you can, and then the second is figuring out how you can do so. And then again, equality and access to resources. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. See you later.